Hey everyone, it's Tdawg here with Tdawg Trading. Thanks for making me part of your day. I really appreciate the support. In today's video, we're going to do a TradeZero Pro platform setup. I'm going to walk you through taking you from the default configuration just after you install it and walking you through how I set it up to be able to day trade the market. So if you're interested, let's go. Okay, as I indicated earlier, the goal of this video is to be able to take you, if you're new to TradeZero, and you're just getting it installed, this can help you get set up. Or if you're having trouble, reconfiguring it to your liking, hopefully going through my process can kind of help you through this situation. So what you see in front of you is the default configuration. So when you first install TradeZero Pro and you log in for the very first time, this is the setup that you're going to get. Very little of this I use. I'll be honest. I mean, I use a little bit of it, but I wouldn't say that hardly any of it's in my primary area. I might keep some of these elements in secondary spots. I've got enough monitors. It's going to be about setting yourself up to make entries and exits and to have all the key information that you need to be able to trade. So I'm going to focus a little bit less on the support functions and more on the key trading elements. And so to do that, we're first going to start by deleting everything. We're going to delete all and we're going to basically clear the playing field and get us ready to start from scratch. So these are the two things that we're going to leave. We're going to leave, this is what I call the menu component screen. And this is our portfolio screen, basically our account status portfolio screen. So what I'm going to do is that I am going to leave this menu component screen on the screen, but I typically don't leave this on after I have things set up. So I am going to leave this on as of right now, just so that you can kind of see it. But but I do want to note that I don't typically leave this up. I do leave it on screen, as you can tell from my, if you've been on my channel, you see my day trading setup. In fact, you might just go ahead and you maybe click on the link if you haven't seen my day trading setup. You can kind of click on that and it can kind of give you an idea. I've got a lot of options. I've got a lot of screen real estate that I can use to be able to utilize, and I'll usually keep this on a side screen. All right. So let's get started. I like to move the portfolio kind of on the top left of my screen, just like this. Okay, so this is where I keep my portfolio screen. And I'm going to just kind of keep this part on and part off screen, just as we kind of go through this video. As you can see, you've got and this is where your account information is. If you were to have multiple accounts, obviously I have mine kind of grayed out. You have your day unrealized, your day realized, your day total. This would be a combined of what you're currently realized and what you've unrealized. This will show you the number of shares that you've traded today. This is where you'll see your account equity, your equity ratio, your buying power, and your total exposure on any open positions that you're on right now. This section right here is basically the active order window. So any active orders, buys, sells, stop losses, anything here, I like to keep this big enough so that I can at least see 4 orders open at any given time. There are sometimes I have 6 or 8 orders out at any given time, depending on the strategy that I'm following. But I like to keep this set up so that I can have at least 4 orders, and I like to have at least 2 or 3 positions windows available. This is where you're going to see your open positions. This is where you can be able to go and see any of your closed positions. and your order history. That's really kind of the key areas, of this particular portfolio window. Again, I have a lot of positive things about to say about the tradezero Pro platform. One of the criticisms that I have, one of the requests for feature upgrade is that I would love, right now you can only have one portfolio window. So you've got this and only this. So the only way to go to look at open positions and closed positions is you have to click and you have to move away from your open positions to be able to do that. I would like to be able to have multiple. I'd like to be able to have this showing at the same time as seeing this, at the same time as seeing this. I would like to have those as three separate windows and be able to see those simultaneously on my screen if I so choose. It doesn't impact my trading. So, obviously I prioritize the things that, executions and those types of things that as far as on being able to trade. All right, so the next thing I want to go ahead and show you the simple order screen. Uh, I do not use the simple order entry screen. I don't really have a need for it. Anytime I'm looking to place an order, to make an order, there's no way I'm not going to be looking at level 2, so it just doesn't make sense. But again, you have the capability of putting in the ticker, and you could make an order. Simply to be able to buy, sell, short, and cover. And I guess this is a good time to say that a lot of platforms, selling and shorting is the same thing. On the tradezero platform, you buy to go long, you sell to sell a long position, you short to short sell, and you cover to buy to cover your short position. You can't buy when you're short to close your position. You would have to cover. So that is something that they've set up on tradezero, is very specific. It's slightly different than other platforms, very easy. In fact, I actually like it. From that standpoint, it makes segregating hotkeys and those types of things. I just think it makes sense to me, and so it's not a big deal for me at all. Anyway, I just thought I would bring up the simple order entry. So obviously, what I would typically do is that I'm big on level 2, so I always have and I'll bring this up, but I always have multiple level 2 screens. So I'll make this meta just to kind of get some data out there. But I'm a four level 2 guy. Um, I like to have four screens up. So I'll put L, and so these are the my 4 market depth screens, right? That I think are critical. I can do everything that I can do on the simple order entry screen, plus I get the access to the market depth, right? So one of the things, if I'm going to adjust my preferences here, so in setting up my montage, or my, I guess on tradezero they call it market depth, I definitely want to see the time and sells. I want to display the montage. I want to see the order entry. I like seeing the column headers, the level 1 quotes. I like using the arrow key, display the trade timestamps, the sort order confirmation. I usually typically hide the account. I do not like seeing blocks of 100. I like seeing the full breadth of the number of shares. I'm not a big fan of the auto load of quantity from the position on symbol change. If you're holding a position, I'm going to leave it there. From that standpoint, because I do understand why some people do it. So I changed the quality increments, and again, this is totally my preference. You might have your own preference. Set precision, that's the number of decimal points. I like having it at 2 decimal points. I do like the Ode Classic. I like I wish you had the capability. That's one of the advantages you have with some of the Sterling platform and the DOS Trader platform, is that you have the capability of selecting very specifically what colors are in what order. But this is, they've got the standard application here. So I'm going to apply that. Again, we're working in this particular screen over here. I like to have it bold. There we go. There's Rockwell, extra bold. like 9.5. That's fine. That's good. Anyway, so again, that's how you can kind of go in and adjust your montage. You do have the capability of having your own separate time and cells. So, you can create, if you wanted, let's say a longer time and cell. So let's say I wanted this on MSFT. You can kind of go in and customize your time and cells very specifically um, to how do you want this to be configured. Um, in fact, I can kind of set this to, it's now silver. I'm going to make it a light. But you can kind of set this. You can also, if I expand this out, I get access to this. So I can go and make this a C. And if I go over here and label this a C, as I change this, let's take it to Tesla, it now auto-populates with the time and cell. So that's how you link, a particular uh, different elements, charts, time and cells, the, market depth, that's how you can, tie those together. Um, I, I've not found the time and cells, this is typically enough for me. So I'm now at the point where this amount of time in cells, it kind of doesn't give me the full depth that this does, but at the end of the day, I, I've not found myself finding information here that I wasn't able to ascertain between here and the level 2. I just haven't. I've not been using that. So that's the time in cells, that's the market depth, and those pieces. Another thing that I think is important to kind of show you that not a lot of people use is conditional orders. Now I have an entire video that's on order execution and how to day trade and using specific order executions, and I go into the conditional order in a little bit more detail. But essentially having this setup on your screen, it's usually always a little bit of you can't use the same size. This is also not a window like you see. I don't have a corner. I can't make this bigger or smaller. I set up my display and then I put this someplace at the very end. This is something that I add later. I will say this is that when you go to save your desktop, it is really easy to save your desktop so that you can go to different configurations. The conditional orders screen, this one, will not save with the desktop. So anytime you use conditional orders, you're going to have to add this to your screen every time you load the application. I'm not 100% sure as to why, but it's something that I've come under, that I've been able to identify. So it's definitely something that you'll have to make note of. Okay, so I think the next thing that's important, I would not be I'd be very, I would struggle if I didn't have hotkeys. I'm very hotkey oriented, especially when I'm trading equities. As you can kind of see, as I go to these different market depths, you can see the highlighted green. Anytime that's your active window, and so that's anytime you were to do a hotkey or do some kind of order, you would be doing it in that particular screen. That's something I think is important for you to know. So let's pull up hotkeys really quick. So this is the hotkey window. And it's quite easy, I think, to be able to set up hotkeys. It gives you quite a bit of power. You have to create hotkeys first. So let's use an example. So let's say I want to set up an order to buy 1,000 shares. Now, again, I already have this, but I want to do this from scratch for you so that you can know what it takes to be able to set up a hotkey. So the very first thing is that I'm going to buy. I use B. I want to buy 1,000 shares on the ask with a 2-cent offset. So, and I'm going to set that up as Alt 1. So now, this is my description. This is the hotkey that I'm assigning it to. And so now let's go through The side is buy. It's a total quantity of shares. I can do position. I can do percentage of buying power. You can do dollar amount. So that, let's say you want to take a position, based on, based on a position size. But in this particular case, I want to do 1,000 shares. I'm going to do a limit order because that's going to be on the ask. My route's going to be smart. My day in force is going to be day. I'm going to do it on the ask, and I said I was going to do a price offset. And my display quantity, I'll just say 10%. Now, one thing that's extremely key is that in most cases, if you're going to use a hotkey, it's not an auto loader. I mean, that's essentially a hotkey is one of two things. You're either loading the order, getting it ready to send, or you want it to just do it. And I'm the just do it kind of guy. So I'm going to click auto send order, and I'm not going to click prompt for confirmation. So I'm going to copy and paste this because this is where you have to have this label here, for this, and then I'm going to add the hotkey. but again, anyway, that's how. If I go over here, this is what the control 1 key is. It's a 2-cent offset by 1,000 shares. Teapot key edits. And again, that's how you create a hotkey. And so I am going to do a video here shortly on my hotkey usage and my hotkey configuration, so you can kind of look out for that on my channel. But again, this is how you utilize the hotkeys. Now you can set up a hotkey deck. So these are all the hotkeys that I have set up, and I can drag and I can add these to my deck, and then I can, let's say, I can sell 100%. Let's cover you sell. So here's a bell, and I can move that down here. And so I can create, this is essentially creating a hot deck. I can do this. And so now that I want to apply this, this creates a hot deck on each of your depths. And if I want to go in and change it, I can go back in, go to hotkeys, go over to the hotkey deck, and then I can adjust these as accordingly, right? So, you can show the grid lines, you can take the grid lines out, you can adjust the button spacing if that'll make you feel more comfortable. But you can these are essentially set up hot buttons through the hotkeys scenario. So that just kind of gives you a little bit of an idea on the flexibility that you really can do just about anything you want with the hotkeys. You have all of the capabilities and flexibilities that you want as it pertains to hotkey usage. And I really find I do not like going without hotkeys. It's a problem for me. All right, so now let's jump into charts. So like I said before, I usually I'm only keeping this up here just so that you can kind of get an idea. But let's take a look at charts. So this is the charting system for tradezero. It's got a pretty good charting system. I definitely like the VWAP. Gonna make this bigger. The charting on TZ's not bad. I'm so used to my existing charting function that I don't use them a lot. I do love honestly having access to the 10 and 5-second chart. So when I'm doing some aggressive scalping, I will look for micro pullbacks and things like that with a 10-second chart, and it's very helpful. Let's just go ahead and bring up a stock. So obviously this is aftermarket. We are post market. You can see that it's currently set up, and there's a lot of opportunities. So like looking at the charts, there's you can identify the amount of margins to the right. You can identify the time axes if you want it on 1 or 2 lines. There's a lot of different functionality. You can kind of show orders on the chart. You can show your trades on the chart, your tick Uh, um, you can show your tick sheets. You can choose to show the logos or not show the logos. You can set up the countdown timer accordingly. You can show it on the x-axis. You can decide to not show it. You can identify the format that you want to show it in. You have that capability. There's just a lot of different, options, to kind of be able to set up, and it is very easy. As you kind of scroll out, when you're out, you can easily just take it and drag and drop. I use my mouse wheel to kind of zoom in and zoom out. Um, you can look at any of the information. You can kind of click to be able to pull up very specific elements to it. It's really easy to add indicators. So if I want to add, let's say, a moving average, obviously you got MACD, you got Bollinger Bands. So, if I wanted to use, let's say just a moving average exponential, I can now kind of double click here. And then I have the capability to change and modify. I can set the color. I can choose to show it on the, um, so let's say I want to make this the 5. Actually, no, we'll make it the 5. We'll make it yellow. And now we have the 5 on the chart. And again, you can double click and you can easily add into, you don't have to, like if I want to remove the RSI that I have added, it's just really easy to be able to see. And then of course I need to add VWAP. So, and now if I go here, I can go to VWAP. I can set the color to VWAP. I like VWAP orange. Remove this. And so now you got VWAP down here. And obviously Tesla had a really good day. And then of course you can set the set this to match. I think we did this as purple, so I can set this to match purple. So if I go over here and move this to AMD, it's going to automatically change, this to AMD. So again, really easy to, now now let's say I have these indicators, I can take this, I can do indicator sets, I can save the current set, and I can name it Terry 1 minute, and click OK. And then if I want to bring up another chart, I can quickly go over here and let's say we make this the A. I'm going to make this the A, and then I'm going to apply the indicator set, apply, Terry 1 minute. And so now it's got all the elements of the same set. And we're going to call this Apple. And now I have Apple up here on the chart. So again, really easy to set up and to modify. Like I said, it has the really nice, it has the 10-second option. And you're able to look at, at a real micro level. So I just definitely really like, like that about it. So now, when I trade with for pretty much 4 time frames. I trade with the 1 minute, the 5 minute, the 30 minute, and the daily. So those are typically the 4 time frames that I'm trading with. When I'm micro scalping, or I'm getting really aggressive with a particular stock, I'll pull up the 10-second chart. But again, setup and framework. I would usually only be looking at charts. Like I said, I don't utilize the tradezero charts as often as I think some people that that have access to the platform would. Again, you've got a good setup. You can see your trades on it. They're not. It's not a bad setup. It's just I think a lot of traders have found this when when you're utilizing When you've been utilizing a set of charting for a while, you kind of get used to it. And even when you go to a different broker, you don't always necessarily just pick up their the charts for the new broker, even though they might be very usable. And in this particular case, I'll use the 10-second quite a bit. Anyway, that's the chart setup for tradezero. Kind of really quick, and I'm just going to remove these for sake. There are a few things that there is an alarm manager. It allows you to easily set up and activate alarms. In TradingView, when I use TradingView, I set up almost all my alarms there, but sometimes I will set up alarms and you can set up again just to send you an alarm to trigger a notification when a stock gets above this or below this or crosses X. You have that capability within the platform. You have a watch list capability, so it's just simply, you can add, if I want to add Tesla and I want to add, Meta and then Spy and then Apple. Oops. And then AMD and FFIE and then RDBX and Mara and Riot. Again, allows you to to set up a watch list for yourself and configure it accordingly. Has some of the key elements you can obviously adjust. Elements you can associate a particular market depth or montage to it. There's the high-low ticker. Um, you know, I if I was going to use this, I don't really, but I would set it up. Let's say I wanted it to be in the price range of $2 to $50, and then I'd filter it so that as things come across that you could kind of set it. I'd probably have a greater than, let's say 500,000. And so once you set those thresholds, it gives you the capability that it won't change what's already on there, but it will edit how things get added to it. And then, obviously you have the capability to go and search out that particular piece as to, what's kind of going on with that particular stock. Again, not something that I've used a whole lot, but it is something that that's available. And of course, there's the top list. These are elements. Percentage change up, net change up, um, New York Stock Exchange most active, NASDAQ most active, Amex most active. Let's see, Pink Sheik's most active. That's funny to me. But anyway, you have some of these support tools that that might come in handy for for the platform. And last thing that I'll show that is made. Of course, this is the clock. This is currently we've got 31. It's almost 8 Eastern. But the last thing that I'll show is short locates. So this is what it looks like to short locates. It's really easy. So, if I wanted to come in here and I wanted to short, let's say it's Meta. It's not currently showing any shares to short. It's interesting. What about Xella? Now, it could be too late in the day. It could be, maybe it's not going to let me locate any shares at this time of night. But anyway, what would happen is that if there were shares to locate, it would pop up here after usually about a second, and it would show the amount of the cost per share it is to locate. And you would select it, you click locate, it would pop up a dialog up here to, hey, do you want to do this? This is how much it's going to cost, accept or decline. You accept it, and then bam, it goes into your your pocketbook, right? So the other value proposition to this is that if you've got a highly desirable locate, and let's say no locates are available, the system lets you sell the locates back, um, at a reduced rate. I think the cheapest or the best, if it costs me, let's say 10 cents a locate, the best I've ever seen get back is about 3 cents. So you don't get all of it back, but you can get some of it back, right? Especially if they're in high demand. So anyway, that's the short locates function of this. So anyway, that's tradezero. I've been very happy with with the application. I think the executions have been really good. I like the flexibility. I think the level 2 has been successful. The I will say that when I'm comparing, I use Dash Trader Pro. I do like the ability to edit more. There's more variables to be able to edit in Dash Trader Pro, but I think the level 2 is spot on. I think it's just as good as any of the other applications. Time and sales is the only trading element that I think where tradezero is a little bit less than the Dash Trader Pro, or a little bit less than a tool like such as Sterling Trader Pro. This is that the time and sales just seems to have more distractions. Where I find Dash Trader Pro, Sterling Trader, I find that the time and sales and that is extremely accurate, and I don't see things that make me go and that's part of the reason why I just use the time and sells within the level 2 window, the market depth window. Anyway, so that's tradezero Pro. Again, a lot of opportunity, a lot of capability. I think if you were new and this was the first time that you were utilizing a platform, or even if you're coming from Dash Trader Pro, something that might be at one level better, for this to be integrated, to be provided by the broker, for it to only be $60 a month, that's about a third of the cost of Dash Trader Pro. I think it's a great value. So so I definitely would recommend tradezero. I'm glad that I found them. The fact that the affordable commissions and those types of things is a real value add. So anyway, I hope this helped. If you have any questions, leave a comment. If you got this far, thanks for joining. If you like this type of content, please subscribe, like. Thanks so much. Y'all have a great day.